All right. So once you have this icon, double click it to open it. It opens NetBeans up. All right. I don't want to send usage statistics, so no thank you. All right, so this is the NetBeans IDE, Integrated Development Environment. That's where you code it. It has support for various languages like C++, JavaScript, PHP, whatever it may be. But again, we're just using it for Java. So to create a new project, and for each problem that you have within the lab, and for the assignment, I want you to create a new project. So for example, over here, if you see my mouse, this little icon right here, this orange with the green plus, click on that, choose the type of project. It's going to be Java, Java application, hit next. And then here, I want to name it, we're doing the lab on Friday, problem 1. So lab 3, P1, right? Hit finish. And so when you get in here, you notice NetBeans does a couple things for you. 1, it creates your class. Beautiful. 2, it creates your main method. So this is everything we need to do our work. And if you recall, for lab 3, all I want you to do is print these little things out. Welcome to Java, welcome to computer science, programming is fun. Well, of course, I'm not going to do that for you, but I'm going to do something very similar. I'm going to write a program that says hello world, okay? So to do that, I go inside my main method. All I have to type is system.out.println. Make sure I have my quotations, hello world. Now, in order to run my program, I click this green arrow up here, hit run project, and you see down here, it printed out hello world. Cool. All right. So the next step, the next problem was to display the area and perimeter of a circle that has a radius of 5.5. So I'm gonna do the area of a square. All right. And let's say the radius is 5.5. So float area equals, actually I don't know what it's gonna equal yet. Float radius equals 5.5. Okay, I'm not doing perimeter right now. What's the issue? Okay. So it wants me to use a double. So use a double instead, and I'll update the lab and everything. Use a double instead. So double 5.5. All right. So now to calculate the area, I said area equal to radius times radius. So radius squared. And now I want to print that out. System.out.println. The radius of a circle, the area of a circle with radius, now when I add the radius, is, and if you notice here, I'm putting spaces in here. All right, if I don't put those spaces in here, you'll see what happens. It won't space out. Area. All right, I hit run, and you see down here, the area of a circle with radius 5.5 is 30.25. Well, let me show you what happens if I don't put these spaces in here. If I don't have any spaces in here that I'm concatenating. Now look at it. Look how jarbled and ugly it looks. You can hardly tell what it says at the end here. So make sure you have the proper spacing inside your strings so that your output looks good. You know, it looks like you actually tried. Okay? All right, the next one for the assignment, you have to read from the console. Okay. So instead of this, you're reading the radius from the console. So let's do double radius. All right, now let's do scanner input equals new scanner system.in. We're creating our scanner object to read from the console. NetBeans has a really nice tool that lets you fix what's the issue right here. So right now, I have to import that scanner object to actually use it, right? It's in a package somewhere, I have to import it. So if I right-click on it and hit Fix Imports, okay, it automatically imports it in for me. All right, now I'll do radius equals, since it wants it to be a double, not a float, double.parseDouble, input.next, semicolon. Now I can go from here, all right? So hit run, and the program is waiting for next. It's gonna wait, right? So if I do 5.5, and I'm down here, if you can see that, hit enter, there you go. I can do that again. I can enter 10.5. And it's going to calculate it each time. All right. So now I'm going to do a quick example with prompting and how to calculate age. So if you remember, we have our Mustang, right? So I'm going to create a Mustang class. I'm over here. I right-click on this little package, hit New, Java class. I'm going to name it Mustang. Mustang has a couple variables in it. It has a string make equals Ford. Oops, forgot my semicolon. String model equals Mustang. And other things as well. I'm going to create a method set year and year just ignore what I'm doing right now. But if you remember, I created a method that had to get VIN in the slides. Right, well here I want to create a method that gets the year, right? So return year. This method right here sets the year. So if we go back to our main, right, let's create a Mustang. So Mustang, my favorite Mustang equals new Mustang. Okay? So let's prompt myself. I want to read in whatever year this is. My favorite model year is 1970, Boss 302 Mustang. All right, so I want to read in that year. So first I got to prompt the user system.out.println, hey, what model year is your Mustang? And if you notice here, I'm going to use print because I want to answer on the same line. And I'll show you that in a second. What model year is your Mustang? Let's say, what is your name? And what model year is your Mustang? So I need a string name. So the first thing, I need to create a scanner object to read from the console equals new scanner system.in. Now I'm going to set name equal to input.next. And then year, let's create another in year. year equals, I'm going to parse it, integer.parseInt, input.next. If you notice, when you call a method, you always have to include the parentheses of that method. All right? So even here, scanner, I'm calling a method technically, and there are parentheses in there, even if they're empty parentheses. All right, so now that I have the name and the year, I want to calculate the age of this car. And age equals 2020 minus year. Let's call this model year. All right, so now I have the age. Now I could say system.out.println name, so whatever name I put in, plus favorite car is a space. Let's type in plus model year. Ford Mustang. That is the age is years old. All right, so what it should print out is James' favorite car is a whatever model year I read in, Ford Mustang that is however old it is, years old. So if I did this correctly, it should work. All right, so what is your name and what model year is your Mustang? So my name is James and the model year is 1970. All right, hit enter. It says James' favorite car is a 1974 Mustang that is 50 years old, right? And I calculated 50 on that line, okay? I do want to show you something. So it says system.out.print, right? And it says, what is your model, your name, and what model year is your Mustang? Then I type on the same line as that prompt. If I do print line here, it just moves it to a new line. So it says, what is your name and what model year is your Mustang? And when I click down here, it's on a new line. So I'll say James, 1970. So that's the difference between print and print line. Print keeps it on the same line. Print line automatically moves it to the next line. I hit enter. James' favorite car is a 1970 Ford Mustang that is 50 years old. Any questions? So once you finish all your work, all your lab and assignments, I want each problem to be in its own separate project, okay? Once you finish that project, navigate to it in your documents, NetBeans project, and on Mac it may be a little bit different. Select both of them, send to compress zip. I right click, send to compress zip, name it whatever the assignment is, so lab 3, enter, and this is the file you'll upload to Moodle.